So you guys have a
Okay.
new series out on Stars right now. And it's all right, I want to start with you. So I feel like this character, Ruby, is like more of a mature character. Now, don't get me wrong, Tasha was grown, had kids and all that, but Ruby's
She a different
character,
kind of grown.
right, a different kind of grown. I feel like Ruby is like
Mhm.
a woman of wisdom, right?
Very, very
Yes,
much so.
even with this moment where she speaks to Lucas, to Banco's character,
Mhm.
about him owning who he is and leaning more into that and not away from it. Because even
Yeah.
as something he's doing in this series is like sculpting, right, to get away from, to take
Mhm.
his mind off of what he's been in the past. But you notice like he's still creating something that's similar to that, right? So I want
Mhm.
you to speak to the importance of someone in your life that sees you for who you are.
Mm. Wow. Oh my goodness. It's a complex question. Well, to tackle the first part, um, I love that Ruby does see who Lucas really is and kind of pushes him to embrace even the other parts of him that he's afraid to tap into. We all have that a little bit, and there's, our past, but also trying to let him know there's a way you can use those skills for good to help people. And I think that's one of the things that makes Ruby so special. She sees beyond, I think, what even Lucas can see within himself. And then someone, for example, like who sees me is my husband. I mean, I married a man who truly sees me and also sees me in ways that I didn't even see myself. So the beauty of having a partner who can kind of push you to elevate, to show you sides of yourself that I was like, whoa, I didn't even know I could do that. I mean, even executive producing and directing and being an executive producer of The Nowhere Man, a lot of it I credit to my husband.
Now, Uncle, I want to talk to you about this, about that character. What was like preparation like? What was the training like? He's ex-military, he's trying to live a civilian life, but boom, these events happen and he's back into that lifestyle. What was the preparation for you?
Well, I think every role for me has its own unique process, right? Um, because I don't think I personally can't have like a one technique fits all for all the work that I do. So with Lucas, I think the first thing was to kind of understand the conflict, right? This idea of the duality of having been someone, having gone through something, and wanting to change. And I think he's wanted to change even before Ruby met him, or before him and Ruby met. I think it feels like he wanted to change, but it was so difficult without the support or without the community of people, as you say, that see you for who you are. Because even when Jonah comes back, Jonah still sees the old Lucas, right? And I think there's a line where Jonah's like, "I know who you really are," and I've always thought to myself like, that's cool to see him as like who he is, but like, how about you try see him for who he could be, or who
Mhm.
he wants to be, or who he wants to become. And I think like this series, it's so action, it's hardcore, like he's a good guy, but he does like really hectic things. I mean, you saw the opening scene, like, he's jumping off helicopters and counting
Yeah,
bodies,
Yeah.
but all
crazy.
in the name of doing this one good act. And even Ruby, I mean, Ruby's pretty hardcore. There was a scene where she was asking, like, did you kill the guys? And he's like, yes, and she didn't flinch, you know. Um,
Yeah,
so it's like, which I think they're the perfect pair,
yeah.
um, Ruby and Lucas, because she understands who he is. She understands what she's capable of, and
Mhm.
that allows Lucas, like Naturi was saying, is to live um, with all of himself. You
Mhm.
know, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I love that. And speaking of the action, what was your training like for that? Because like the series is action
Ooh,
packed. It's so layered. It has some good story, right? But it has some good entertainment too. What was your preparation like for those scenes?
I mean, because
Oh,
Bonko is giving us full on Mission
Okay.
Impossible like five. I said, my gosh, he can kick ass.
no, we had a great stunt coordinating team, which was Cabello and his stunt crew. And the directors, Gareth Crocker and Fred Volmerens, they did really well in mapping out, like, because we shot over 4 months, I think. So we didn't rush to kind of learn everything at once. We developed everything as we go. So there'd probably be 2 days in a week where we look at the scene, and we work it out, and we played on set. And even when we got to set, if we had new ideas, we'd kind of adjust it, or add on to it, or maybe take away from it just to give it that punch that it might need. But yeah, it was probably 3 days a week of training. Just the sequence, learning the sequences. But I felt like my job really was to sink into those emotional pockets, because I feel like if Lucas didn't have depth, or if I didn't really search for the emotional pockets of the story, it would have been just like another
Exactly.
action series, right? I mean,
Yeah.
I don't think,
We
yeah,
wouldn't
nobody
really
wants that.
care. We wouldn't care about
Yeah,
Lucas's journey and what his experience has been like, his trauma, his PTSD, his old life, his new life. We wouldn't care, but
yeah,
what Nowhere Man does a good job, and like you said, Garrett and Fred, like the directors, they were incredible. But just making sure that Bongo was guided in the right direction to make sure that these characters don't just fall flat. They're not just like, oh, it's just like pretty to see him like fight and shoot up some people. There's way more to it than that.
That's wonderful. And I definitely think you guys did. Like I said, first episode, I'm hooked in and I'm like,
Yeah.
so glad I got the whole series. I was like, boom, binge watch. I know people won't be able to binge it, but
It
they will
is a
definitely be
yes.
coming back. So you guys
It's binge
did.
worthy, but be
Yes,
patient and it's worth waiting every Friday. Just go ahead
yes.
and the episodes are available on the Starz app at midnight. So if you can't wait, go ahead and watch it at midnight. Right after Forest, we start. So if you watch the finale of Forest with my boy Joe Shakora, go ahead and tune in to The Nowhere Man at midnight on the app.